Good morning, and welcome to Haven Tree Parent Podcast, where we get to talk about something that's important to us and to you.
Today's special guest is Adri. Adri is our oldest child and our first human guest ever on the show, so that is very exciting. Adri is going to be joining us today as we finish up our conversation on love languages.
So today, like she said, we're going to finish up on love languages and how all of it comes together. So we thought it was appropriate to have Adri with us because she is the one receiving all of our love.
Not all of it, but a lot of it, huh? You've been receiving it the longest, we'll say.
Oh.
So one of the reasons that we thought it would be fun to have Adri join us, for one thing, Adri really likes to talk, right?
Nobody knows that.
Yeah, Adri really likes to talk. But Adri is also very, very perceptive for someone who is not quite 8 years old. Adri understands things about people and sees people's emotions much better than kids her age, and she always has. When she was little, like 2 or 3, I would complain because I would come home from work sometimes and she would say, "Why are you angry? Can I sit with you?" And I would say, "I don't want her to know I'm angry. I just want her to get out of my head." So Adri has always been way over perceptive, and she understands things about other people. That is really quite amazing.
What?
So I thought that it would be fun to have her join us.
Interrogate her.
Now, we have not talked with Adri at all about love languages, or what love languages are, what the different love languages are. So she's not familiar at all with that particular term. So we are bringing her into this conversation completely blind, and are just curious to hear what her thoughts are. Okay? Is there anything else you want to say to introduce yourself? That was a pretty long introduction.
Nah.
Yeah, that pretty much covers it, huh?
That's Adri.
Okay, so the first thing I want to ask you, Adri,
Yeah.
is what are things that your siblings do that make you feel loved?
Oh, that's easy. Kenzie plays with me, Jamie helps me, and Saya wrestles me. Somehow that makes me feel loved, but I'm not sure. It's probably because I love beating up him, and see him do all the time. He goes to the kitchen stomping, and he goes to hide in the closet.
Oh,
Oh
so
my.
you like frustrating him.
Yeah.
So you don't let him win, and you like that he's not winning. And that makes you feel loved by him. Got it. Because he's upset with you. Oh, no, I totally get it, because you guys are always grumpy with each other, and it makes sense. So you love that you're grumpy at each other.
Kind of.
Oh. What about mommy and daddy? What's something that daddy does that makes you feel loved? Or mommy?
Daddy wrestles with me,
Ah, uh-huh.
and he always gets me.
Oh, yeah. He always wins. Doesn't let you win like Saya.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Let me think. And Mama? Does my school with me.
Ah, okay.
And she buys my new school.
Yeah, that's true.
And she buys me toys for my birthday.
Uh-huh.
And she plays with Barbies with me sometimes.
That is true.
And she brushes my hair.
Hmm.
And I cannot remember anything else.
That's okay. That's a lot of things that you listed that mommy do.
Yeah,
Mommy
but I mean,
does.
it makes sense. You're with mommy every day,
My
all day.
favorite is
so.
that Mama sometimes plays Barbies.
What about Nana and Grammy? What's something that they do
Grammy.
that...
Grammy does my laundry.
Oh, yeah. Grammy, that is not what I expected you to say, but that is very true.
And Nana, buys me a lot of new toys.
Oh, very nice.
That is factual, too.
Mm-hmm.
So, interestingly, Adri,
Yeah.
well, let me ask you one more question first.
Well, how long does this thing take? 2 hours?
Yes, we'll be here for 2 hours talking.
We usually take about 15, 20 minutes.
Oh.
Not
Yeah.
bad.
Mama said any more than 20 minutes and we're not doing this.
Yeah. So, Adri,
Yeah.
what is something that you do to show other people that you love them? And you can use specific examples for different people, or you can talk just more generally.
Let me think. I'm not sure.
Yeah, sure. You don't show anybody else that you love them?
Sometimes, but I usually can't remember.
Ah. So there's one thing that I'm very surprised that you didn't talk about.
Yeah.
And that is something that Mommy loves to do with you guys. What is that? You know what it is. Snuggle. Yeah. I'm surprised that you didn't mention that. Do you want to talk a little bit about Mommy liking to snuggle? What do we do when we snuggle?
Mama usually gets her cozy blue blankie.
Uh-huh. And then what do we do?
And we usually watch a cool movie.
Watch a movie, yeah. Or if we're not going to watch a show, then you always ask me. The other kids do sometimes. But if I say, no, we're not going to watch a show tonight, then what do you always say?
Let me think.
You don't know, do you? Because I'm making you nervous, huh? You say, can we talk about...
Animals.
Yeah, always, don't you? And then we talk about animals while we snuggle.
Yeah.
And it's fun. It's one of my favorite things that we do.
Yeah.
So, Adri, I have to tell you, for not knowing anything about love languages, you did a very good job of listing things that fall into some very specific categories.
I did?
You did. I think she probably hit all of them.
Almost. Yeah.
So, Adri, the 5 love languages are words of affirmation. I don't think she talked about that at all.
That's the one I was going to say she didn't do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But we do that one every night at the table for dinner.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So, words of affirmation means...
Talking about something you did nice for other people?
yeah, so that's a great example of words of affirmation that we do at the table.
So every dinner, every time we always ask, who did something nice for you? And we have you guys talk about it.
Can you think of other examples in our house of words of affirmation?
Let me think. Maybe... Not sure.
You can't think of any others?
Not really.
That's okay. What about... Okay, so words of affirmation. Then physical touch, which is the one that we just talked about, snuggling. But you also talked about that earlier with Saya and with Daddy. Another way that you can show love with physical touch is by wrestling. And we do a lot of wrestling, huh?
Oh, yeah.
So you... Yeah, careful.
Whoa.
So you mentioned that Saya likes to wrestle with you.
And I like to beat him.
And Daddy likes to wrestle you. And that is a great example of physical touch and how that shows love. What?
Nothing.
Now, you like snuggling, right?
Oh, yes.
Thank you. But you are a kid that does not like giving hugs to like family members very much, right?
Yeah.
Can you tell me about that?
Well, sometimes I'm just not in the mood.
Okay, yeah. I
That's
feel
fine.
that way too sometimes.
Yeah. And usually we say, give your, whoever it is a hug or a high five. And that gives you an extra option, so you don't have to give a hug. And it tells the other person that you might give them a high five.
So that is something that we actually started when you were little, because when you were little, you were very shy.
Yes, I
I think, was it Papal she would cry at if you tried to hold her?
Gumpy
Wah,
usually.
wah, wah.
Yeah.
Gumpy usually. Gumpy has a very weird sense of humor.
I didn't say it, Gumpy.
And well, it's true. He would say it too. My dad has a very weird sense of humor.
Yeah.
It's where I get it from. But when Adri was little, it really kind of freaked her out. Like it was just not. She wasn't a fan of it. Like at toddler age. And so she I think, looked at him like he was unpredictable, because he was always like doing something silly. And so she did not, like, she went through a phase where she didn't want to hug him. She didn't want to touch him. She didn't want to be around him. And I think it really probably hurt him a little bit. But obviously, you've gotten over that now, right? You and Gumpy you love Gumpy and you think he's funny.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But yeah, so we have always kind of said you need to say goodbye and give a hug or a high five. And we would always sort of introduce that and say, so that, like, I was going to say like Uncle Frank, but I have an Uncle Frank, so I can't say Uncle Frank.
Uncle Bob. I don't think
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Uncle Bob, because Uncle Frank was not a culprit of this. Uncle Bob.
Not a random enough name.
Didn't like force the issue of like, give me a kiss on the cheek, or like, because I think a lot of times, so there's some people that sort of villainize that or make it like creepy when it's not. And then there are times that it is totally inappropriate, but a lot of times it's not meant to be inappropriate. It's just like Uncle Bob, loves, the kids, whatever. But it's kind of a good, like, way to tell Uncle Bob she's not required to give you a kiss. Like,
right.
She's going to come and say goodbye and show respect and affection, or, respect probably mostly. And she can give you a hug or a high five. And so it sort of provides that hedge of protection so that they don't feel uncomfortable.
Right.
But Adri, I would say now you're a lot better about giving most people hugs, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, you're not as shy about that anymore.
I give Nana too many hugs.
That is true.
Mama too many hugs.
Never too many, though.
Too many for Nana.
Nan doesn't like so much cuddle?
Probably not.
Oh, that's okay. But then you won't kiss like your siblings. Like we...
Or hold their hands.
Yeah.
I only hold my hand with Kenzie. Only kiss Kenzie.
Which is funny. Like you won't even kiss like Obi. Why is that?
Oh.
I mean, it's not a bad thing. I'm just curious.
Not sure.
Is it because he's gooey,
Curious
naughty,
one.
and drooly? You don't
Today
wanna
he had,
kiss his...
he had peanut butter all over his arm because somebody left the peanut butter jar in the table.
That was Kenzie.
Mm-hmm.
Kenzie was eating peanut butter because she said that when I was only open that one had only a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
That makes
And
sense.
why is there a bee in the room?
Don't
Not
worry
a bee.
about it. It's a moth.
It's a
Oh,
moth.
a moth.
Yeah.
Those are pretty.
So you don't like to kiss Obi because he's slobbery?
Ugh, and slimy and gooey.
You won't even kiss him on the head, though.
Oh, sometimes I do that.
Do you?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And then you don't kiss...
Yeah, usually when I put him to bed, I have to take him around to all the girls so they can give him
Yeah.
a kiss goodnight. So.
But you don't kiss Daddy either, really, do you?
No.
No.
Mm-mm.
You did when you were little,
Yeah.
but one day you just decided you didn't want to kiss him anymore?
Mm.
You started to smell his stinky armpits, so you didn't
My
want to
itchy
get too
beard
close?
when I don't shave it.
Yeah. That's okay. You don't have to kiss Daddy. You don't even have to kiss Mommy. I would probably feel kind of sad if you didn't, but...
Oh, I love kissing.
Well, yeah, and Kenzie always tries to steal my kisses from Mama, too. So
Yeah.
it's a big game for us.
So, okay, so we've talked about words of affirmation, physical touch, acts of service. So you talked about two examples in particular. They were both very good examples.
Mm-hmm.
And Mommy and Daddy talked about one of them. The first,
Jamie and Mommy. Or Grammy.
that was what I was thinking about. Jamie and Grammy. And those are, Daddy and Mommy talked about Jamie a lot. Now, here's the very interesting thing. And I don't know if I shared this as much in the podcast or after the podcast. But when we talked about acts of service for the podcast, I had not thought about Jamie. I had thought about you and the fact that I don't always appreciate that. But I never, ever considered that was what Jamie did.
Right.
And it is. I mean, as soon as you said it, I was like, oh, duh. Like, how could I be so stupid? You know,
How
like,
could I not see that she loves
right,
to do these
like
things?
that is so obvious.
She'll complain about it every inch of the way,
Right.
but she'll do it. And then, like I said, she'll run ahead of the others to do something that they were asked to do.
So, but then it's funny that Adri, you called that out immediately. Like, you didn't, because you're brilliant. Yeah.
Can I tell you about this one time?
Yeah, talking to your mic.
Can I tell you about this one time when Nana asked me to do something and Jay stole it?
Yes, I would love to hear about that.
Okay. Okay, Nana asked me to go get her keys and get something out of the car for all the kids, and Jamie rushed downstairs to do it, and I was like, "Oh no, you don't!" And she was wearing a hoodie on her shirt.
Talking to your mic.
So I pulled it, and she just hit her butt on the stairs.
Nice.
Did you apologize?
Yeah.
That's good.
And that was the day she broke her butt open.
Oh,
my.
no.
Don't be rude.
Sorry.
Oh my. So, but you are right. That is something that happens a lot. Daddy and I talked about that. That Jamie, anytime anybody else is asked to do something, Jamie tries to run ahead and do it instead. And for some reason, that makes a lot of fights. But here's the thing that's interesting, because
Nana even tried to stop her that day.
Oh, yeah. And Mommy
Yeah.
and Daddy try to stop her sometimes, too, because it does start fights. But why does Jamie do it? What did you tell me? Why does Jamie do that? Because she wants to.
Well, that day she just wanted to do it so she could see the surprise. Because Nana told me and her it was a surprise.
I see.
So she just wanted to see the surprise ahead of all the other kids.
But often she does it because that's the way she shows what?
Kindness?
And love. So maybe it's something that we should give a little less. We should give a little less frustration about for Jamie, since she's doing it because she loves us. You think? Maybe. And then Grammy also. Grammy loves to come to our house and do things like clean and do our laundry. Yeah, she does a lot of laundry, doesn't she? Do you think she does it better than Mommy?
I think she might even live in her laundry room.
Her laundry room's not very big. But you're right. That is the way that Grammy loves to show love. So then what's next? Gifts.
Yep.
So gift giving. Who did you mention that likes to give gifts? Yeah. And Nana does like to give gifts. And you don't mind that very much, do you?
Nana, gifts.
Yeah. And that makes you
Nana
super
has-
uncomfortable and you tell her to stop, right?
No. Nana has gifts stuffed. Nana has gifts stuffed in her old house even right now.
Oh my goodness.
And she has an entire room to just wrap presents and stuff, doesn't she?
Yeah.
Yeah. A whole wrapping room for all
pretty
the
cool.
presents. But she goes to a lot of people's houses and gives them lots of presents.
Yeah.
At her new house, she has 10 closets full of toys for us.
Oh, very good.
my.
That'll be good.
10.
That sounds a little out of control, ma'am.
10. There
So
must be 1,000 toys there now.
that is a lot of toys. So then the last love language is, what am I missing?
Fighting.
No, fighting was part of physical touch. Words of affirmation. Service.
I'm
No.
lost.
Service. Did we talk about them all?
Gifts, acts of service, physical touch, quality time.
Oh,
already talked about
quality time.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah. How could I forget? Okay, so Adri, quality time. Now, we talked about quality time twice. One is, what did you say Kenzie likes to do to show that she loves you?
Play.
Yeah, play with you and spend time with you. And then you talked about this with Mommy, too, which makes sense because this is what Mommy likes to do.
Snuggle.
Well, spend time with and talk to.
Oh, and play Barbie.
Yeah, so all of that would be part of quality time.
And Daddy spends quality time with you wrestling.
Well, that's mostly physical touch, not quality time. Nice try.
It's quality.
It's
Got it.
Good quality.
So-
She's learning a skill.
So, Adri, of all of those examples, which one's your favorite? And
The
it doesn't
favorite-
have to be your favorite person, your favorite way of being loved.
You feel the most loved when somebody...
Plays Barbie.
Plays Barbies. Okay,
Ah.
so you feel most love with quality time. Is there a second? You also feel loved when people hug,
Oh, nice.
physical touch. Yeah.
Okay.
Which makes sense.
Yeah,
that is kind of what
Mommy's
I would
always
guess.
said all of our kids love snuggling.
So
So,
can I tell you something that's interesting?
Yeah.
I think a lot of people would think that most kids would say their favorite way to be loved is to get gifts.
Get gifts.
Now, why
That's
is
my third.
okay? Because everybody likes to get gifts. It's cool.
Oh, gifts.
Why do you like getting hugs and spending time more than gifts?
you don't have to wait for them.
That is true.
You have to wait for gifts.
It's not an everyday sort of thing, huh?
Yeah,
But Nana does it every single day.
that is true.
It's because she feels like she never gets to see you guys.
What else do you want to talk about related to love and being loved?
Don't play with that. We need to get you a fidget spinner so
I
you
know
can sit
you're
there.
very fiddly. To have to sit so long is very difficult for you, and you have done a very good job. I'm quite impressed.
Mm-hmm. Get you a squish ball next time.
And I would like to point out, I didn't point this out at the beginning. We are doing this podcast, filming this podcast at night,
Mm-hmm.
which we decided to do particularly because Adri is a night owl.
Mm-hmm.
I am not. I was ready for bed like an hour ago, at least. But Daddy and Adri are both super in heaven to be up late at night.
We're going to do a dad and daughter podcast after this is over.
the
We'll probably be
midnight show.
singing Hakuna Matata and all sorts of fun stuff.
I think somebody else is getting quite wiggly.
Mm-hmm.
So even though we can't do our closing of I think the kids are going to wake up soon, I think it is my bedtime. And
Daddy's got to
Adri's
deal with this one.
Adrian needs to get up and do some jumping jacks or something.
Yeah. Yeah. The other night I had them go outside and ride bikes because they were all still super energetic. I don't know what happened during the day, but it was the only thing I could think of. And the sun's staying up longer, so that helped with burning some more energy. So
Anyway, we would love to hear if you ask your kids some of these same questions, what their answers are. You might be surprised, like we were, to hear that many of their examples fit very perfectly into some of the 5 love languages.
yeah, it's great. Until the next adventure.
Bye.
Bye.